Hi, everyone. Really excited for this week's episode of the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. We dive deep with Brent Lutz, Melfort's Community Development Manager, on why Melfort is such a great place to live, work, play, and invest in. It's a great little city, and I'm very happy we could get Brent on. Hope you enjoy.
You're listening to the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, where we chat with real estate experts from across the province to learn what's happening in the real estate market. Here's your host, Quaroni.
So we're joined here today by Melfort's Director of Development, Planning, and Community Relations, Brent Lutz. Brent, let's kick this off with you. Can you give us some of your background and your role with the City of Melfort?
Okay, well, I work for the City of Melfort as the Director of Development, Planning, and Community Relations. In smaller cities, you have to wear multiple hats, and so my title is a little bit longer, but part of what I do is I work on economic development and community planning for our city for future growth, and that puts me directly working with developers and property owners when it comes to developing property, or even investment property owners when it comes to acquiring property.
Fantastic. So taking a snapshot of the city of Melfort, can you give us a breakdown of some of the demographics, the population?
Well, Saskatchewan has 12 cities, and Melfort is one of the smaller cities in Saskatchewan, but not the smallest. And we have a population of about 6,000 people that live right within the community. And we serve probably a population of 20,000 people that live within 15 minutes of our community. So this becomes their center for all of their services, whether it's to get their mail or to acquire their provisions, or for recreation and other entertainment, etc. So our community size is probably around 20,000 people, but those that live right in the city of Melfort, about 6,000 people.
What would be the big economic drivers in the city?
Well, we're right in the heart of agricultural heartland in Saskatchewan here. So agriculture plays a big part. So in our surrounding areas, many of the people are involved in agriculture, own farms. The community itself is the largest center in the region, and so we are the service center, whether it means for agricultural services or for other services like retail shopping or healthcare or education. Or legal services when it comes to accounting and lawyers, etc. So a lot of people come to Melfort to acquire those services that live in this region. And so, of course, a lot of people that live in the city work in those various industries serving people.
So staying on that topic, are there certain amenities that those 20,000 people go to Melfort specifically for?
Well, we certainly pride ourselves on our quality of life, and lifestyle is what we work on and promoting in the city itself. We branded ourselves about 5-6 years ago as Play Melfort, and really what that message means is that we really value recreational opportunities for people of all ages, young families to seniors to children, and so we've really focused on basically having top-notch recreation facilities and opportunities for people that live here so that they can have a fuller and more complete lifestyle. We've worked on other areas in addition to recreation. We've established healthcare as something that's very important for people where they choose to live. And so 3 years ago, we opened a wellness center that's attached to our regional hospital. And the city is certainly actively involved in adding healthcare services to the community. This past year, we opened a heliport that transfers patients directly from our hospital to Royal University Hospital in Saskatoon. That's shortened a trauma trip to get medical services by almost an hour for people. In addition, this coming year, CT services will be added to the hospital as well. So those are important factors when people are deciding where to live or where to retire, is what services are available to them, and we're actively involved in trying to always enhance that.
Fantastic. Yeah, being from the area, I know that Melfort has a great mix of everything that you need to get in that small city environment. And so going back to what you were talking about, when people are deciding to move to a place, there's a lot of different factors and there can be different age groups within that. What would we say, does Melfort have a good mix of all ages and types?
Yeah, I think historically people would think of centers like Melfort that maybe they're a retirement center and that there's more older folks than there are younger folks, but certainly our average age is below the provincial average. And we see people of all ages. Melfort has become a community of choice, certainly for people that are retiring from the farm and don't maybe want to go to a larger center, but they want all the services that you've spoken of. And so Melfort becomes a community that they choose, but also young families. A lot of people find themselves working away from home. And so this is the type of community where they like to leave their family, where they know that family is safe and that they can access all these activities and services. They can get around the whole town. They basically, Melfort's a kind of community you can let the kids, travel across the community to go to a facility or whatever and feel relatively safe. And so we see even young families choosing this location, some of which maybe don't even work in the region, but travel away to work and then come back for a period of time. So everything in between. And so it's a bit challenging when you're trying to serve all those needs. But that's what our goal is to serve all of those ages within our community. And I think that we probably have a very balanced combination of all these various different age groups.
Fantastic. Just as you were talking there, I thought of the question, what is Melfort's growth curve looking like? Is it a fairly steady rise? What are we seeing from that?
Well, Melfort, like all communities in Saskatchewan, saw things change somewhere around 2006, 2007, when the province started to see growth in our population, and Melfort was also benefited from that. Since that time and carrying forward right to this year, the city of Melfort has exceeded the provincial average in growth. Certainly, there are a lot of areas like surrounding the two largest communities that are growing at a faster pace. But the fact that we've been being able to exceed the provincial average suggests that our community is a growing community. And, so we have to plan for that. We expect that our community needs something in the neighborhood of 30 new living units on average per year to meet the demand and the growth. And that can be challenging some years to see that many either new homes constructed or apartment buildings constructed. Without a place to live, people can't choose to live in your community. And so we strive every day to make sure that we increase the options that people have if they choose to live here.
Right, and that ties directly into our next set of questions. So I'm a little unsure of the specifics on this, but this is why we're talking to you today, Brent, about some of the incentive policies that Melfort has for population growth. And so I'm just going to run through here. Let's start with the residential growth policy. Can you quickly explain it and how that might benefit folks who are in Melfort and or deciding to come to Melfort?
So the city has established a number of policies. They're all developed around the idea of development. And so if people are adding to our inventory of households in our community, we want to encourage and incent that. And so that starts with a single family home. We have policies in place whereby in many of our neighborhoods, we give a tax incentive for anyone that builds a new home in those neighborhoods. And that is a 3-year exemption on their taxes. It is an incentive to see new development in older neighborhoods where maybe there's either been a vacant lot or there might be a home there that's kind of beyond its life and needs to be replaced. And so we call those infill lots, and there's very few infill lots available in Melfort anymore because those policies have been widely used and encourages people to do that. We also have in that same policy, we offer an incentive. The city of Melfort develops our own new development lots. And so we offer a rebate to people that purchase in those neighborhoods to develop a new home there. And we actually give them a cash rebate when they complete their development. And they can use that for furnishing their new home or going on a holiday, whatever they want to do. We have a $6,000 rebate that we offer to those new homeowners. Wow. And then thirdly, in the residential area, is that we recognize with the price of real estate increasing across the province, that people were more and more staying in rental units longer than maybe they used to, and that purchasing their first home sometimes took people a little longer in order to get the down payment they needed or what have you. And then lifestyle, some people have chosen that they maybe want to rent. And so the demand in the rental market has increased, and the construction in the rental market was not keeping pace at the same rate. And the province recognized that, and they put in some programs about 10 years ago where they offered incentives for people to develop investment properties. And so they asked the communities to come on board with incentives to match those so that we could extend the provincial incentives in our community. So we were one of the first communities to get involved in that. And our strategy was that we really wanted to increase our rental inventory. And as a result of our policies, we put policies into place that at one point in time, we were actually paying a fee per door for each new rental unit that was created, a cash rebate, if you would. And now our policy has changed over the years, and now we offer an exemption on taxation for new multi-unit purposely built rental properties, where we give them a 5-year tax exemption. So it helps the property owner there if our rental rates are maybe a little below the return on investment that they were seeking. They're able to factor that in, and that in the case of our community, our rental rates are fairly strong. Our vacancy rates are very low. And so combine that with the tax incentive that we've been able to offer, we've managed to attract investment property developers to build new properties. We've seen probably a 30 to 40% increase in our inventory of rental properties as a result of that policy over the last 10 years. And, in a community such as Melfort, where we say we need 30 units per year to kind of keep pace with the growth that we're having, obviously some of those units need to be in multi-unit properties that are available for rent, because not everybody's going to be able to own. And so we see that multi-unit properties, particularly if they've got 10 or 12 units, that they kind of come in ebbs and flows. Last year, we didn't have a multi-unit development constructed, but that's not unusual because the previous year we had a 24-unit apartment building that went up. And so sometimes, the investors want to see that the marketplace can support all of the existing rental units that are available. And so now we're back at, where we were 2 years ago before that new property came online, where we're finding that people are saying that it's challenging to find a property. We get inquiries at the city here if we can help them find property owners that have units available for rent. And we hear of very few vacant units. And so when the climate kind of gets back to that position again, we're anticipating that, now would be the time that people will start looking and see it as an opportunity maybe to construct another project.
So for someone outside of Melfort and looking at it just based on the population and saying 5,000 people, that's not a big enough community for me to invest in. What would you say to them as far as the surrounding business that Melfort does that makes that population of 5,000 much more viable as a rental market?
Yeah. So with our population in the city of 6,000 people, but 20,000 people living, within a 10, 15 minute drive to the city, certainly our community is larger than our immediate population. But in addition to that, we serve the whole region, which is about 40,000 people. And so we're finding that when it comes to investment property developers and the choices they're making, they want to know that not only is there a sufficient rental market that they can have a good revenue stream with their property, but they also want to know that the property is somewhat liquid. If they need to sell it, that there's a market for it, that investors will purchase it. And so we established those policies to make sure that, the tax incentive helped with the fact that, you can't build in Melfort a whole lot cheaper than building anywhere else. But the tax incentive is an additional help. And then we found that investors found Melfort was just the size of community where they're still considering that they could invest in. And that if they went further out, or communities that surround us that are a little bit smaller, they're a little hesitant to make such a major investment in a community that size for fear they could end up with some vacancy, or that they might have to reduce their rental revenue rates in order to attract renters, or when it comes time to sell, that the investors may not be interested in a community that size. So we found that we're just beyond that point, and so we've been able to get investors that look at the community in Melfort. We saw as a result of that some of the surrounding communities where it's challenging to attract those investors, that some of their housing needs are being met in Melfort, where people maybe get a job in that surrounding community and they choose to live in Melfort because that's where the available inventory of housing is. And so it's not uncommon for us to have people living in Melfort and traveling 15, 20 minutes to a surrounding community because that's where their employment is. We think that they're attracted to Melfort for other reasons also. As I mentioned, as being a retail service center, it means the retail services are more available here for them. Healthcare, education, some of the recreation opportunities that maybe wouldn't have in a smaller community. So we find that, you know, even the employment opportunities that are in the surrounding outside communities are attracting people to live here because they choose to live here and then maybe commute for work. A good example of that is St. Brew, which has the Borgo Industries, a major manufacturer there. You know, they would be employing in the area of, 500 people. Certainly, probably more than, well, I know more than half of them live in Melfort, even though they work 20 minutes out of the city. So I'd say to investors, the opportunity is here. People desire to live here. There's a demand here, and there's also a good return on investment. If you do need to sell that property in the future, you're going to find other investors who will be interested in it.
Fantastic. And just kind of rounding this out, the business incentive policy, can we quickly just touch on that?
So we also have a business incentive policy in the community, and that is to attract additional retailers and businesses to our community so that we can maintain our position as being the retail hub and the major service center in the area. And so we offer for new businesses coming into our community, we offer them a 3-year tax exemption if they're developing a new property. That new property in the future will be something that will add to our tax base and support all of our services that we have here. So it benefits the city. For them, it allows them an opportunity to keep their costs down in their initial first few years, which often is a challenge as you're building up your business and increasing your gross sales. In addition to that, we offer an incentive for existing businesses because it's one thing to encourage new business to come to the community, but we recognize that over the years, there's been businesses that have supported the community and paid taxes year over year. And so we offer a policy if they want to either add on to their property or build a new building, we offer them an incentive as well, and we extend to them a 4-year exemption for any improvements or new building that they might construct. And we've had businesses that have, made that decision locally that it's good to reinvest in their business, and they've utilized this particular program and said that it's been a factor in making that decision to invest.
Sure. And just quickly, Brent, with all of this stuff, I'm guessing it kind of goes hand in hand. Residential, your renting market, your business, it all kind of adds up and everything kind of works in unison to kind of continue to grow the city of Melfort. Would you say that that's the case?
Oh, for sure. And you see that in the statistics. And I mean, even with some of the developers, we've got a regional shopping center that we've been developing here in the city. And, one of the things that they informed us with, right from the get-go is that the commercial development follows the residential development. So as people move in and there's more households in the community, that spurs on commercial investment because people see that as an opportunity. And you would see that even in larger cities where they build a new residential neighborhood and immediately following that, there's a small neighborhood shopping center that sprouts up with that to serve that population. And it works the same way here. And so we have to kind of keep turning that over, increase the housing to increase the businesses, increase the housing to increase the businesses, and keep turning that over so it keeps happening that way.
That's fantastic. So just quickly touching on it, Brent, if people wanted to learn more about these specific policies and what Melfort is doing, where's the best place to send them?
Well, firstly, all that information is available at melfort.ca. And if they visit our website, all our policies are listed there, and they can certainly go there and access that. Also, all the demographics concerning the mix of our population and the things that are driving growth here are listed there as well. And they're certainly welcome. And that's one of the nice things about being in a smaller city is they're welcome to reach out and give us a call or send an email, and they'll get personalized services here. We often help projects right from the beginning to the day they open their door, work their way through whether it be the red tape or the application process for a variety of things and the permitting that they need. So we're here to help service them that way and see our community grow as a result.
Fantastic. So, Brent, I'm going to throw a curveball at you here. Everyone who comes on the show, I ask them this specific question, and it's if you had, say, $1 million and you could buy any property in Saskatchewan, where would you buy?
Well, incidentally, just this morning, I just got off the phone with my banker because I'm looking at buying investment property in Melfort. So I think that's where I probably would choose to invest.
Fantastic. Brent, anything else to add before I leave you today? If people want to get a hold of you directly, if they have any more questions about this, what's the best way for them to get in contact?
Well, like I say, certainly they can go on our website. They'll find my email address there. They'll also find the phone number. They can call City Hall and call me directly. And I'll certainly explain all of the advantages and help them with the project they have in mind.
Awesome. Brent, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Great. Good to be with you.
Thanks again to Brent for coming on the show. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Share this content with your investor friends if you found it informative. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content every week on Saskatchewan real estate. If you're a city or someone involved in Saskatchewan cities that has a lot to offer, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I would love to help promote your community.
This has been the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. If you like this episode, find more information and episodes on our Facebook and YouTube pages. If you'd like to be a guest or have a conversation you'd like to learn more about, let us know by messaging the show on Facebook. Thanks for listening.